Okay, so what you're looking at are a series of XY scatter graphs. And scatter graphs allow us to take two different pieces of information, two numbers, and put them onto a single point by way of what you see here. And it allows us to maybe see a correlation that there might be between the average teacher salary versus how much per student is invested per year in a particular state. And the second one there is a correlation between what we invest in dollars per student per year as to how many students end up going to college or are college bound. So we just want to kind of see what that happens to be as far as the correlation goes. It looks like when it comes to the college bound, it looks like there's more, maybe somewhere in this area here where it might be somewhere around $10,000 per student, giving us probably the most in a particular salary range here, or student investment range here. So around maybe between maybe $5,000 and $6,000, and maybe $10,000 as far as the amount that's maybe invested in a student. So we'll see how we can put these two together. So we'll go ahead and go to our blank page here. And for the first one, we're going to do, and this is going to be the teacher salary as opposed to the average dollar amount that we invest in a student per year. So we'll take this range here, which is the average amount that we invest in a student on a per year basis. And then I'm going to hold down the control key and select the average salary, the average teacher salary. So do those two right there. All right, then we go over to the Insert tab. We go to our scatter graph area here, click onto that, and we'll go with this first one here. And there is our first graph. Now we'll go ahead and we'll do this. We'll stretch it out a little bit. Now we can go over to the title here, and we can put in something like teacher salary versus student investment. There we go. And we can go there and we can make it a little bit bigger, make it bold, what have you. Now the next thing we can do too is we can actually label each of these dots, at least most of them, with the appropriate state. All right, and the way we do this is we're going to go back into the elements here. We're going to tell it that we want to do data labels, and what we'll do is we'll hit the little drop down arrow there, and we'll go down to more options. And we're going to tell it that we want to see not really the values, so we're going to take that off. We want to be able to see the values from the cells and the range that we're going to be looking at. In other words, when we're looking at each of these rows, will be what's over in here. So we just go ahead and we'll select this range. There we go. Hit OK. And there we go. It's a little messy, to say the least. Now, if we want to be able to see a trend, where the trend is really kind of going with this, we can actually click onto the graph. We can hit our elements. And down at the very bottom here, we have the trend line. We'll click onto that. You can kind of see the trend. Seems that this is going in a kind of a positive fashion. So I guess it seems like the more we invest in the student, the higher the salary, the average salary of the teacher. And it seems like most of it is right in the area of maybe between maybe like $8,000 and $12,000 student investment ends up being around maybe 55,000 in salary. So it kind of tells you something there. But kind of an interesting little graph there. And we can actually kind of label this so people are looking at this to get an idea of what's going on here. So I can click on the graph, hit the little elements, go with the axes, titles, just click onto that, and I'll get the title there. So that one's already selected, so I'll just go ahead and put that. Will be teacher or average, teacher salary. Maybe make that bold, a little bit bigger. All right. Then on the bottom one here, this would be the average per student investment. And again, we can make that bold, make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Not bad. Now, if we wanted to somehow stretch this area out a little bit, we could change the x-axis here so that it doesn't start at 0, but rather maybe starts at maybe 6,000, 7,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, and see what happens. That'll end up pulling this all back over here and kind of stretching it out. So let's try this. If I go over to the x-axis, I'll double-click that, and it says right now the minimum is 0, right, and the maximum is 25,000. So if I go in here and I make this maybe 6,000, something like that. Let's kind of click away from it. You'll get something like that. Not too bad. And then on the other side here, it looks like it's going up about 22. So there's not much we can really do in that regard. Also, too, in this situation here, most of the numbers are, I would say, almost above 40. So maybe if we were to set the y-axis to maybe 35. So I double-click that, I can say that the minimum should be 35,000. Right? We'll leave the other one at 80, and by doing that, it'll stretch it out a little bit, and we'll get that. So a little bit easier to see, and so forth. So we can close that up. Not bad. Now, if we want to add just a little bit of maybe background color to this, we can click onto the graph, go back up into the format area, go into the shape fill here, go to the gradient and maybe find a coloring in there. We can do more gradients. Oh, we can do all kinds of gradients. We can do everything. But I could go to the gradient here, and it kind of gives me this one right off the bat. And that doesn't look too bad. I've got other preset ones in here as well. Other colors, I can maybe pick the green, or go back in there again and maybe go with the maybe the light green, something like that. So not bad. So I'll close that up. All right, so that's the first one. And I think one more little thing here, we can actually click onto the frame, go back up into the format, go to the shape effects, go over to the glow, and maybe kind of give it something like that for the glow. Maybe even go as far as do a shadow, a little shadow casting there. So something like that. Kind of makes it kind of jump out a little bit. All right. Now the next graph that we're going to do is going to kind of pit the amount that we invest in a student per year as to how many actually go off to college, you know, from that particular state. So the average cost per student per state versus the how many are actually going off to college afterwards. See what that number is, and then correlate that. So what we'll do here is we will select this range. Well, actually, we'll just do the two because they're right next to each other. So these two, We'll select that. And then we'll go back over to Insert. We'll go to our Scatter area. We'll go and pick our scatter. There it is. Looks a little different. And then we'll go ahead and kind of pull this down maybe about there. Pull it out. And there we go. All right. Then what we'll do is we'll get the states in there again. So we'll go back and click onto our plus here. For the elements, we'll go over to the data labels. And we'll go to the more options here. And in this case, we don't want to see the value. We want to see instead, I messed up there. All right. I kind of lost it for some reason there. Okay. So we'll do the data labels here, but I want to be more specific with them. And I want to go and I want to take out the Y value. So that always jumps off for some reason. That's kind of weird it does that. All right. Let me try it one more time. I have no idea what's going on there. Click onto that. Go back into the data labels, more options, and now I'll just go directly to here. And now that range is going to be that range there. And we'll hit OK. And we don't need the value in there. All right. And there we go. Doesn't look bad. Actually looks a little bit better than the other one. Now we'll go ahead and we'll stretch this out a little bit. What we can do there is we'll double click the x-axis here, and we'll set the minimum. Right now it's starting at 0. I think we could easily do probably 6, maybe even 7. We'll try 7. So the minimum is going to be 7,000. All right, and we'll click like that. I think we might have missed one there. I'll do 6,500. Yeah, I had the 2 on the edge there. Okay, so we got that. And probably I'll maybe just do 6,200. There we go. That looks good there. And on the other side, not much there we can do. And as far as the y-axis, I suppose we can maybe set it to be at maybe 1,500. So I'll double click that. And we'll change this one to 1,500. Click away from it. There we go. It doesn't look too bad. We'll also add to it a trend line, and that is trending down. All right. So what are we looking at here? Well, let's look at what we have here is the amount that we're investing in our students, right? And over here are the number that go off to college. So it looks like it's in the area where most of it is in this area here. So probably it looks like when the investment is somewhere between maybe, I don't know, maybe like 9,000 and 12,000. So 9,000 to 12,000. And in that range there, it can be anywhere from 45 to 8,500 are going. So you look out here, it's a lot worse, you know, as far as the number goes. So looks like the big chunk is here, and it's really, it seems like probably the more we spend on the student, it seems like the less are going off to college. I mean, just by the way this data looks. So that's what we can kind of surmise from that. Now I'll go to the top here. I'll put a title such as maybe student invest / college bound. All right. Enter that in. There we go. We can make it bold. Make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Not bad. All right. So what else can we do here? Well, maybe give it some color. All right. So we can just kind of double click here. All right. And when you double click that, it's a quick shortcut to get into maybe the gradient area. And before we would pick green, this time we'll do maybe a light orange. Something like that. That'd be good. And then while we still got it selected, we go up into the format, the shape effects, go over to the glow, and maybe go with maybe a green glow for that one. And what else can we do here? We'll do the green glow, and then in the effects, we'll do the shadow. There we go. All right, so there you have it. We could probably also maybe label this so that people know what these numbers are. We can click over here, go to the elements, go to our axis titles there. We can actually just put a check mark in there. That'll take care of it. So the side one is the number of college bound, all right? And we can make that bold and a little bit bigger. And then down here, this is the, I guess it would be like the student investment. Or I should say, let me do this. Investment per student. All right. And again, make that bold. Make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So now you've got two different views of your data. Something we can make some decisions from, or at least start some conversations with. Gives you some idea. I mean, this is just fake data. I mean, so it could be completely opposite of this, but the idea is that if it were real, it's a great starting point to try to see where we can make things more efficient, or save money, or do whatever. So, but we're not going to know those things unless we have something like this to start with. So I hope you enjoyed the video here, and I hope you can start using this stuff. Take care.